How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to go over recent Laker news that's come out involving Danilo Gallinari maybe being a free agency target for the Lakers, Rondo and Caldwell Pope opting out of their contracts and what that means for the team, and the possibility of Dwight Howard leaving. But before we get to the video, if you could take a moment to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, it would be greatly appreciated. And turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a video. There's a lot of content on the way and you don't want to miss it. Thank you. But anyway, we'll begin with looking at the Danilo Gallinari rumors that link him to the Lakers, but in general, the rumors are just interesting. People are really linking him to the Laker team only because of this comment he made by saying, "For him, playing for an NBA championship is more important than a contract. I'm not 20 years old anymore." And I can see where he's coming from here, as he really hasn't ever been able to compete for a championship in his career, and he is only getting older. But are the Lakers really a realistic option for him? Well, that depends on how big of a pay cut he'd be willing to take. In 2019-2020, he made over $22 million while playing for the Thunder. If he would sign with the Lakers, for example, the most they could likely offer him is around $9 million with the mid-level exception. I mean, that might be something he'd consider, but they can only offer a one-year contract with that, and even if he'd be willing to take a discount, he may still be looking for a contract that has multiple years guaranteed on it. Because even though he is getting older, Gallinari is only 32 years old, so he still has multiple years ahead of him of playing. I don't really know if he'd be wanting to bet on himself with a one-year contract that wouldn't give him any guaranteed money going forward if he were to get injured, for example. I think it really all depends on how badly he wants to compete for a championship. And just because he said he wants to compete for a championship, that also doesn't mean he's only looking at the Laker team. There are multiple other teams who are championship contenders and who will be trying to persuade him to come to their team after the comments he made. It obviously does help the Lakers are the current NBA champions, but that doesn't guarantee that they'll be able to get a guy like Gallinari because of it. But for fun, let's say he is actually willing to take a big pay cut to join the team. How would he fit? Offensively, I think he would be a pretty good fit actually, but I do think he'd likely be coming off the bench. Anthony Davis prefers playing at power forward during the regular year, and because of that, Gallinari would likely be coming off the bench. Though there would be times during every game that they would play Gallinari at power forward and then AD at center. I think that could make for a very dangerous lineup. Gallinari is one of the best three-point shooters in the entire league, especially when we're talking about spot-up shooting. He shot 40.5% from three-point land in 2019-2020 while playing for the Thunder, and averaged nearly 19 points a game while doing it. He is a prolific scorer and shooter and could be a great addition to the Laker team in that regard, but he may also have trouble fitting in as a defender. I mentioned that if he joined the team he'd likely come off the bench, and that is partly because AD likes to play power forward, but it's also because Gallinari isn't a good defender. He primarily plays power forward nowadays because he isn't quick enough to defend out on the perimeter. It's usually better to hide him on defense down low against a power forward, or instead he can use his good height and strength and not have to keep up with perimeter players. And because LeBron doesn't really put a lot of effort in defending during the regular year, it might be hard to have both him and Gallinari in the game at the same time on defense. They would definitely have to surround them with good defenders like Caruso and Avery Bradley for a lineup like that to work on defense, but again, it may level out due to their potential on offense. Gallinari could come in and be that third scoring option that the team was looking for all of last year, but again, it really depends on if he is willing to take a big pay cut or not. But what do you guys think? Is Gallinari a realistic option for a Laker team, or do you think it really doesn't have a chance of happening? Comment down below what you think and we can talk about it there. But now moving on to Rondo and Caldwell Pope declining their player options and what this might mean for their futures on the team. And although it wasn't a big surprise for both of them to decline their options, it does make things going forward a little harder to predict. Declining their option basically means they're testing their value in free agency and seeing how much they're worth before recommitting to the Laker team. So in other words, they're both very likely looking for more money. Money that the Laker team doesn't really have in terms of cap space. But the good thing is that they have both players' bird rights, so they could go over the salary cap to pay them if need be. Rondo declined his player option that was worth around $3 million for next year, and Caldwell Pope declined his player option that was worth $8.5 million for next year. I imagine Rondo is looking to get around $5 million a year, and Caldwell Pope is looking to get somewhere around $10 to $12 million a year. I don't think that this will be a big problem for the Laker team, but they should wait to sign Rondo and Caldwell Pope until after they sign any other players that they don't own the bird rights to, because even with bringing back Rondo and Caldwell Pope, they still have multiple holes on their team that need to be addressed as well. After presumably bringing back AD, and then if you add in Caldwell Pope and Rondo, that is only 9 players that are guaranteed to be on the Lakers next year. Guys like Avery Bradley and JaVale McGee have player options for next year that they haven't made a choice on yet. And then guys like Dwight Howard, Markieff Morris, and Jared Dudley are unrestricted free agents and could go wherever they want. So overall, they have a lot of moves to make with not very much money. I believe they'll be able to get Rondo back with only a small pay increase, but I honestly could see Caldwell Pope leaving if he gets offered a big contract by another team early into free agency. He is still young at only 27 years old, and after having won a championship, he may be looking to get paid. I don't see him taking a team-friendly deal, and if the Laker team wants to retain him, they might have to give him a big payday that they probably don't want to give him. But another thing to note is that many teams around the league don't have a lot of money to spend this year. Most teams are waiting for next year, which is a much bigger free agent class and filled with more talent. So many teams aren't looking to offer long-term contracts this year anyway. And may be a big factor into retaining guys that the team likely wants to keep, like Caldwell Pope, Rondo, and Dwight Howard. But speaking of Dwight Howard, there have been rumors that he is already getting interest by multiple teams, and one team in particular that rumors have come out about are the Warriors. They reportedly have been in contact with Dwight and have a lot of interest in him, though it has also been reported that the Lakers and Dwight have mutual interest in a new contract as well. And after finally winning a championship, I don't see Dwight ever joining a non-contending team again. I think the Warriors are probably the only true threat of prying Dwight away from the team. The Warriors have always used a traditional center on their team, and players like JaVale McGee and Andrew Bogut have won championships because of that role. Though Dwight already does know his role on the Laker team, and winning a championship with them definitely helps. It won't be easy to pry Dwight away from the team, especially if JaVale McGee leaves and Dwight could see an opportunity to increase his role further. But either if JaVale McGee leaves or not, we know Dwight has a lot of love for the Lakers for reviving his career and helping him get a championship. Along with that, he openly loves living in LA and has embraced Laker culture. I really don't see Dwight leaving LA, even if the Warriors offer him a slightly bigger role and contract. But what do you guys think about all of this? Should the Lakers give Rondo, Caldwell Pope, and Dwight Howard a pay increase, even if that might mean preventing them from targeting other guys in free agency? Also, what do you think the chances are that Gallinari actually ends up on the Laker team? Let me know what you think about all of this by commenting down below and we can talk about it there. But that'll do it for this video. Don't forget to drop a like on the video and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching.